Hello, everyone. Welcome to this live session. So, guys, recently we had this headline that says US Envoy engages Miyetti Allah leaders on security challenges. And many Nigerians reacted to this news as to why would the US, negotiate or meet with Miyetti Allah. This is a group that is seen on the international platform as a terror organization, but the United States decided to go meet them to talk about security challenges in Nigeria. Now, I'm going to share this video with you guys where a security expert has come out to explain what happened during that meeting. I'm going to allow you to watch that video and you are going to see reasons why the American envoy to Nigeria decided to meet with Miyetti Allah. Don't also forget that there was this bishop from Benue State who went to the United States to present to the House, to a Congress, what they've been going through in Benue State in terms of the Fulani herders crisis, And after that presentation, the United States wasn't happy with the development happening in Nigeria. Now, this expert is saying that the Miyetti Allah was not invited. It was like a one-sided talk. They only listened to the bishop. They didn't listen to Miyetti Allah. And that was why this envoy came to meet them. So, guys, a whole lot has been happening in terms of security. You must have seen the video of a guy from Benue State who was lamenting that they are being asked to evacuate their community because Fulanis are coming in. So he was lamenting as to why would they leave their community for Fulanis, who are even said to be Nigerians. Now, I'm going to allow you to take a look at this video where this security experts has also detailed why the United States envoy came to meet Miyetti Allah leaders.
Security, or the lack thereof, has become such a topical issue in Nigeria that no week passes by without one unfortunate incident or the other provoking another level of discourse about it. This past week, there were quite a few of those incidents. One took place in Maiduguri, the capital of Borno State in Nigeria's northeast, where some residents are now asking the federal government to relocate the Giwa Barracks armory in the aftermath of recent weapons explosions that caused widespread panic and chaos among the local population. In the event that the barracks cannot be relocated, then they want it modified and equipped with modern armory storage facilities to mitigate the risk of future explosions in the vicinity. Arise News correspondent Sani Adamu tells more.
Continuing to trail the fire outbreak that caused weapons to explode on Wednesday night in Maiduguri. The explosions, according to the military, was caused by the extreme heat experienced in Maiduguri. The explosion caused pandemonium and chaos among the residents, with many fleeing their homes, thinking it was an attack by insurgents.
It was pathetic. It was devastating. I was panicked. I was thinking that it was something else, but it happens that there was an explosion at the armory. So I think it is something that we don't expect it.
Reacting to the incident, some residents suggest the general renovation of the barracks. Others want the federal government to relocate the barracks from the residential area to the outskirts of the town.
It should be moved to the outskirts of Giwa Barracks because it's been a long time that we've actually experienced this kind of attack, so it kind of feels like all new. So to me, yes, it should be moved to the outskirts.
This kind of thing is a just fire outbreak, but you could see how people are affected. Some are even blood pressurized, some are even dead because of this fire outbreak. So if possible, the government should look into this matter so that they can relocate. People will get peace of mind.
While some are of the view that the government should modernize and modify the barracks armory storage to avoid the potential risks of further explosions.
I don't think I am of the opinion that it should be relocated, but rather it should be modernized in a way that the government should invest and make it spacious, and also, if possible, insert soundproof materials so that, God forbid, if anything happens or an explosion happens, they will be able to minimize the level of panic or the level of damages that would happen. So relocating it, I think it's a bad idea. we need them between us in order to secure, to safeguard, and to keep us at peace. Yes.
Instead of relocating them to somewhere, I would rather suggest that they should be given the management of a standard,
to terrorists. And of course, the icing on it will be the meeting of the American envoy, Richard Mills, with the leadership of the Miyetti Allah, which a lot of people are talking about with surprise, with, consternation, wondering what the interest of the American embassy will be in directly interfacing with Miyetti Allah. I know that this is loaded, but then start with the Miyetti Allah. What are your thoughts? What's your understanding of what is going on, and how deep do you think we are now in this mess that has just become intractable, in my opinion?
Thank you once again, Steve. So incidentally, I was part of that meeting that held on the 28th of April. And the reasons for the meeting was an interface. I think it's good to lay the foundation so that we're clear about what really happened. In the last few years, there are certain associations, including the US government, that has included the term Fulani as a threat element and as part of the terrorism perpetrators within Nigeria and, of course, within other parts of Africa. And so, as a security expert, as you know, I run a firm, I asked myself, Fulani is an ethnic group. And by our estimate, it represents between 12 to 30 million persons within Nigeria alone. And so when you categorize about 30 million Nigerians as terrorists or terrorist perpetrators, I think it's unfair. It represents a generalization that in the long run will not help anyone. But that does not mean, for instance, that there are no criminals or possibly terrorists within that 30 million. And so when we attempted to isolate the number that could represent that criminal or terrorist portion within the 30 million, it came to about maybe 100,000. So what happened was the coalition of Fulani associations in Nigeria, numbering between about 20 to 35 of such associations, wrote an official letter to the US government saying that, yes, they admit that there are criminals or possibly terrorists among them, but that these terrorists do not represent the general group. And so why not find a better framing, a better name as against the generic use of that word, Fulanis. And as you know, issues around ethnic profiling, issues around stigmatization, the US government, and in fact, any right-thinking person would hold dearly to it. So it was on that basis that the US government decided to hold a meeting to understand better what this coalition of Fulani associations were trying to say. And of course, that was discussed. And the US government did, in very categorical terms, state clearly that developments in Benue, developments in Plateau State were worrisome to it. They felt that perhaps based on the narratives they have received from certain quarters, that there is an attempt at either targeting Christians or killing Christians. And then, of course, the coalition explained to the US government that they themselves are also victims. In fact, they gave the...
So, guys, I really want to come in at this point. So the Fulani, let me say, Miyetti Allah represents the Fulani headsmen. You know, this is a group that chairs them. They went there to say that these Fulanis are not just attacking Christians alone. They are also victims. Now, ask me, since the recent attacks we've been seeing in Nigeria, how many Fulanis have come out, especially the leaders we have in the north? How many of them have come out to condemn, to openly condemn what the Fulanis are saying or they are doing? It's in this country that Buhari, who was the president before the current president, said any attack on Boko Haram is attack on the north. Now, look at this headline. This is the Sultan of Sokoto. Sultan of Sokoto condemns Boko Haram crackdown. This was in 2011. He condemns people going to fight against Boko Haram. He condemned it before now. You know, when Boko Haram started, they were being pampered. They were being nurtured until they now became what they are today. And it's now a threat to everybody. The same thing is happening with these Fulani headsmen. You've seen them across the nation. They don't have boundary. They go to every nooks and crannies of this country, carrying their cows, carrying their guns, and causing mayhem. How many leaders, including Sultan, have come out to say this is wrong? People cannot speak up. Even the religious clerics in the north, how many of them have come out to say, no, we can't take this anymore? Look at Benue people crying every time it's mass burial. Nobody cares. The government is not speaking. They are not acting. The leaders in the north, they are not speaking. They are not acting. The religious leaders, political leaders, nobody is doing anything. And now this security agent or security expert is saying that the Fulanis had to write to the United States Embassy telling them that they cannot just generalize it that it's Fulanis. Yes, you can't generalize. Every Fulani is not a terror person, you know. But for the fact that they are not speaking up, we've seen this same Miyetti Allah taking responsibility of people that were bite. We've seen them come out to say, yes, because their cows were rustled, because their cows were bite, because something happened to their cows. That was why they went in and slayed people. It is the same Miyetti Allah now that is going to the United States to tell them that, oh, we are also victims. Can you imagine that? So when you balance it, it doesn't work. So for me, it's because the North pampered these people. Recently, the AIG, that's the Assistant Inspector General of Police, came out to say, I'm going to crack down on IPOB. He said he's going to flush, there was a term, and is it flush all IPOB hideouts in the Southeast? And a human rights lawyer replied him, why not in Zambiza? Why not in Benue, where the headers are causing crisis? Why must it always be the Southeast? So what is happening in this country is still so difficult to understand. How these people are being groomed, they are being pampered. At the end of the day, 300,000 Boko Haram members have been pardoned. 300,000 have been pardoned by the Nigerian government, rehabilitated, like we were told, reintroduced into the society, like the government tells us. They were giving taxpayers money to go begin their lives. How many of them have ended up going back to the bushes? Nobody is making those calculations. So when you look at it, you find out that these people, they are not really ready to end insecurity. And for Miyetti Allah to quickly go to the United States and tell them, we too, we are victims, they are not helping it, because they are not even coming out to speak against what the Fulani headsmen. And we've been told that these people are not Nigerians. But guess what? It is those who are in Nigeria that are helping those who are coming from inside, that are coming from other bordering countries, and then they will go to Benue State, go to Plateau, and begin to cause mayhem there. Nobody is speaking up, nobody is condemning what is happening. And this must stop, honestly.
Of Miyetti Allah leaders in several locations in Nigeria, including in Plateau State, that have been killed. That in places like Katsina, in Kwara State recently, that have been killed. They also gave instances of their victimization. The most recent was in Kogi State, where over 100 plus Fulani persons were arrested and then detained illegally, and at the end of it, a substantial number of them were killed. So in summary, it was the meeting in an attempt to discuss a way out by groups that felt they are also victims and that they are interested in fostering peace and interested in finding a better solution than what is currently happening in the country.
Okay, well, that's a very interesting background that you gave. This, from a diplomatic perspective, Dr. Kabir, would you say that this entire meeting is also a reflection on us as a country and our security system in this country? How would you say it reflects? Does it show an inability for us to handle our issues? Of course, we know that there are several sectors within Nigeria that have also had meetings with this same group. So now with the U.S. Embassy saying that, you know, they decided Ambassador Richard Mills had a meeting with the Miyetti Allah, what does it reflect on us, and how do you think this meeting is going to further improve this farmer-herder clash, especially because a lot of Nigerians are now saying that the victims as well should have their own voice in this situation?
So it's important to emphasize that the victims have their voice. In fact, what led to the meeting is the fact that the perceived perpetrator did not have a voice. I'm sure you probably saw it on different accounts, social media, mainstream media, where a certain clergyman from Benue State attended, I think it was a congressional hearing in the US, and gave an account of what he felt was the types of atrocities committed by Fulanis in Benue State against churches. He listed the number of churches that had been destroyed. So yes, the victim, quote unquote, did have a voice. And what the coalition attempted to do was to say, okay, if you are discussing us, why don't you include us in that discussion too? Because in that particular meeting, that congressional hearing, no Fulani person was listened to. And like I tried to explain earlier, it's, I think, wrong to categorize an entire population, almost about 30 million, categorizing them as criminals or terrorists. So what the meeting attempted to do is to find a better framing for the issue. And it has gone beyond farmer-herder violence. And I think that's one thing that the meeting also established. Perhaps it started as farmer-herder violence, but several components of criminality has now crept in. And it has become institutionalized. One of them is banditry. It's an offshoot of this farmer-herder violence, unfortunately. Another one is cattle rustling. It's also an offshoot. The third or fourth one is kidnap for ransom. And then the fifth one or fourth one, depending on what we're counting, is the role of our security agencies. Unfortunately, that role too has been questioned severally. And to your second part, the second part of the question, the security situation that we have. Accountability also was part of the conversations. Both sides, the assumed victim side and the assumed perpetrator side, wants accountability. What that meeting emphasized is that there must be accountability. If anyone commits an offense, irrespective of his ethnicity, of his religion, of his social status, of his political leanings, that person must be arrested and prosecuted. And perhaps the failure to arrest and prosecute is why we're where we are.
All right.
It's nice that this man is very plain. We hardly see Fulanis being arrested in Nigeria. It's so difficult. We know under Buhari, the attack was everywhere in this country. Don't forget the Owo attack that happened, I think, in Osun State. These people went there. Is it Osun or Ondo? I think one of those states, they went to a church, fight many people. Till today, nobody was arrested. Nobody was prosecuted. We've seen so many things happening in Nigeria. Even in the north, you have IDP camps across the nation. The Tinubu's government is not even talking about how to relocate these people back to their communities. These Fulanis have taken over their land, their communities, renamed their communities, and they are living there comfortably. The security agents are, they are so complacent. You've seen the video of an ex-military sniper that said he was shot. Although he didn't die, he survived it. He was shot by a fellow military man because he was spying Boko Haram members. A fellow soldier shot at him, telling him to stop shooting at Boko Haram because he was a sniper and he could aim very perfectly. And he was really getting them very, very well. But a fellow soldier shot at him, asking him not to be buying, Boko Haram members. So among the security agencies, there are still some level of complacency. They don't take any action. Look at even the army base in Borno State. Recently, Boko Haram has been, coming in there, buying many soldiers, taking their weapons away. At so many instances, they've done that recently, not previously, recently. Many soldiers have been killed because of Boko Haram. They'll just tell you that, there was an attack yesterday. They came in, they killed these many soldiers, they took weapons away with them, and then everything will calm down. Before you know it again, they will come again. Nobody is doing anything as to to end this menace. And that is why retired Danjuma told Nigerians that don't wait for the military, defend yourself. Don't wait for them. The DSS boss came out to say, Nigerians, don't wait for the police, the military, or any of these security agents to protect you. You've got to protect yourself. So the Miyetti Allah is also saying we are victims. We are victims of our people's attack, because that's what it means, that their own people too is being fight, their leaders. He made mention of Kogi State is being fight. So guys, a whole lot. When you see this situation, when you look at it, it will be difficult to really fight insecurity in this country because there are so many interests, He has talked about the security agents. You can imagine if the security agents are being accused in all this, then we have a very big problem. And I don't know how we are going to get out from here. I'm going to be ending this video because, like usual, I have a guest who will be speaking to us. If you want to see this video in detail, the full version of it, you can watch it on my channel. I already have it there posted, that the United States envoy met with Miyetti Allah, and the reasons for that meeting has been explained by this security expert. He's saying that they went there to tell them that it's not all the Fulanis that are terrorist Fulanis. And Fulanis are also victims of these attacks. It's not only Christians that are being attacked. Fulanis are also being attacked, that they've seen their leaders, being fired. But so, guys, the question mark is still there. Why would the USA be talking to Miyetti Allah, an organization that is seen to be a terrorist organization? Headsmen are seen to be terrorists, on the international platform. It's only in Nigeria that they are being pampered. And Nigerians are wondering when all these attacks are going to end. Will Benue State people ever go back to their communities? Will those of them from Plateau State ever go back to those communities? Or are they going to spend all their years and their days in IDP camps? Don't forget that the Tinubu's government is not even capturing IDP camps, in their budget. Nobody is taking care of them, if not for the United Nations. And recently, there was this report that there is a breakout of kwashiorkor, malnutrition and all the sicknesses that comes with it in some of these IDP camps. So a whole lot is happening in this country. And sometimes you keep wondering if we have leaders, because there's a big vacuum that is being created in terms of leadership. So, guys, that's where we'll stop on this security-related video. And like I've always told you guys, we always talk about how you can go into real estate in Nigeria, which is one of the businesses that is not being affected with all these unstable policies from our politicians. You've seen what is happening in Nigeria today. People are hungry. Many people were rich before now. They've slipped into poverty, and businesses are closing. Like you see the figure, you can go to Google and Google it. 7.2 million businesses shut down in the space of between 2023 2024. 7.2 million businesses have closed down. So, and we know that many multinational companies have left Nigeria because of the poor management of the economy. The naira keeps dwindling, rising and falling and all that. So a whole lot. The only way that we think you can start building your money in Nigeria is by going into real estate. And for me, I cannot refer you to somebody who is going to dupe you. I cannot refer you to somebody who is going to eat your money or somebody who is desperate for your money. We are here to educate Nigerians on real estate and why you should take advantage of it. If you come through the person I present to you, good. Even if you go through another route, it's not a problem. But just for you to know that there are huge opportunities in Nigeria. People now in Nigeria can earn in dollars. Like we talk about the dirty December that happened in Lagos, how people were able to rent houses, buy houses, build houses, and then they are leasing it online on Airbnb and other platforms similar to that. They lease it there, and people will book, come in a night and pay you in dollars. Can imagine if you have somebody to stay in that house every day for 1 month, how much you are going to be making. And there are other opportunities, land banking, and other ways you can really get into real estate if you don't really have the big money that real estate requires if you want to like buy an apartment. There are other methods and other ways you can actually come in and start making your money. So in this channel, I've taken it upon me to always make it like a point of duty to talk about how to make money here, because myself, I'm somebody that love real estate. It's something I've done before now, and I'm going back to it, and that is why I'm sharing the information here with you guys. So today we have with us Mr. Benga. Like, he has always been here. You must have seen his face. So he's going to be speaking to us on how we can start taking advantage of the real estate business in Nigeria, and how you can also come into it even if you don't have if you don't have bulk money. And like I've told you guys, he is somebody you can trust. Even if you don't want to go through him, you always get knowledge from him. If you have any question, you can always contact him. I'm going to leave his number, his email address here. But I want you to take your time and listen to some of the conversation that we have today and know how you are going to benefit from it. So, like last week, we talked about land banking in Nigeria. Today, I want to ask Mr. Benga to explain to us how somebody can really become wealthy by buying land in Nigeria. What are the latest methods? Because some of the ways our parents practiced real estate, they are like fading away. You know, today there are so many modernized methods of real estate investments and making money online. So please, can you talk to us on how somebody can turn land into a bank, like you always say?
All right, madam. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Great pleasure once again to always be on your program. Thank you for having us. And we are here to provide value, to provide crucial information to guide your audience. Whether they come through us or not, we are here to give them the necessary information to guide them in their investment and in their property acquisition. You just made a very, very valid point that the way that our parents and predecessors used to do property business is actually changing. Is actually changing. In the past, people were more prone to losing their land, but recently there's better structuring to assist people to be able to acquire wealth through property acquisition. Before going on, I'd like to say one very vital thing, that whoever goes into property development is actually going into business with God. Because the Bible says that the earth belongs to God and the fullness thereof. So anyone that goes into property acquisition is one way or the other partnering with God to get the wealth of the land. I'm sure you have probably heard of a lot of stories of how people have acquired land at different strategic locations, and over time, they've turned to millionaires and multimillionaires. This does not happen by chance. There is a strategy to it, which we'll be discussing today. So basically, land banking is a way of getting money from land. It's a way of turning land into your bank. It's actually possible to turn land into your bank, but there's a way to go about it. Before you buy a property, you must check some boxes. I don't know if you can still hear me. Can you hear me? Madam Ifema?
I could hear you very well.
Okay, all right, okay, because your video went off. Okay, should I continue?
Yes, continue. I was just trying to make your screen to be more larger.
Okay, all right, okay. So land banking is the strategic purchase of underdeveloped land in anticipation of future demand and future appreciation. Basically, you buy the land in a location that is not fully developed, or that the development is still upcoming, and then you hold that land. You allow some factors take place, like infrastructural development, urban migration. You allow all those factors take place, and then your land appreciates. So it's sort of like knowing where the direction of development is going and going ahead of the pack to buy the land and secure it and allow it to appreciate and get your returns. Now, we are bringing something unique again to this concept, that while you are waiting for the land to appreciate, you don't have to leave your pocket empty. While you are waiting for the land to appreciate, your pocket should not be empty. We are bringing the opportunity that on a yearly basis, on an annual basis, between 30 to 40% of the value of your land can be coming into your pocket. And to put this in context, depending on whether you're buying 3 plots or 6 plots, you can get a minimum of at least 1.5 million per annum on your land. So 2 things you'll be achieving. Number 1, you'll be getting value appreciation of your land. For example, if you buy the land for, we have a property we are currently selling for about 600,000 now for the land, aside the other fees. And in say 5 years, 8 years time, you can sell this land for nothing less than 15 million naira. There has been precedent. If you know Pastor Ashimolowo, he bought a property at Ogun State over 20 years ago, where everywhere was bush. Now, let me even bring to your remembrance all the places we are calling Lekki Phase 1 today, that we are calling Wuse, that we are calling Okija, at different locations. Most of them were thick forest 20, 25 years ago. But today, in some of those locations, if you don't have a minimum of 40 to 50 million naira, you can't buy property. Now imagine if there's a young man or a young lady listening to us today, and their father or their mother had bought a property at Lekki Phase 1 when it was barely selling for 500,000 naira. I probably had bought 3 or 6 plots 20, 25 years ago. At that time, yes, it would have been maybe a bit of a constraint or sacrifice for the parents. But if the parents had the foresight that I'm not just doing this for myself, I'm also doing it for posterity, for my children, those lands can be worth accumulatively up to 500 million naira. So you can actually prepare massive inheritance for your children ahead of your time. So now what we are now bringing to the table is this, that yes, prepare an inheritance for your children. And while you are preparing that inheritance, you also can be a beneficiary of the returns of that land on an annual basis. Now, we currently have a property we are selling at Ogun State now for 600,000 naira for the land. 650,000 naira for the land. The documentation is also 650,000, and the C of O fee is 650,000. Together, it gives you 1950. Together, it gives you 1950. Now, if you buy 3 plots or 6 plots, depending on which one you buy, on the 6 plots, on an annual basis, you'll be getting a minimum of up to 1.5 million naira on an annual basis. So this gives you between 30 to 40% return on your on the use of that land. Now, how are we going to generate this money? Now, as you mentioned, come rain, come shine, come trouble, come anything, everybody has to sleep somewhere. Everybody needs accommodation. No matter the problem happening in Nigeria or in the world, everybody must sleep somewhere. So that means you need land for accommodation. Number 2, no matter how tough anything is, there's no human being that can go without eating daily, unless you're on a fast, or unless there's a great famine. So that means everybody needs food. Where does food grow? From the land. So the concept is when you buy land from us, we are going to lease it out to farmers. Farmers are looking for credible land to buy. But sometimes the cost of this land is huge for them. So this is sort of like a partnership between city buildings and your audience and whoever will be interested. It's a sort of like partnership that bring your funds, buy the land. The land is your own. You're going to get all your documentation in your name. You're going to get the C of O in your name. So the land is your own. So while the land is appreciating with time, we are going to lease it out to farmers, to factory owners. They're going to make use of the land. They're going to pay return. That is the return we shall be sharing with you. But we shall deduct a management fee. But we'll be sharing that with you. More than this, now when you want to go to the bank, and that's usually the problem of businesses, mostly in developing countries. When you go to the bank, you want to borrow money, you want to get a loan. They will ask you, what collateral do you have? They'll ask, what collateral do you have? You say, oh, I have a land in so area. They'll say, what is the title on it? If your land doesn't have proper title of a CRO consent, you can't get a loan. But with this concept, your land will have a C of O, and you can therefore use it as collateral in any, if you so choose. And then after, let's say 5 to 8 years, you now want to sell your land for any reason, you have invested. It's like planting a cash crop tree. Like planting a cash crop tree. After some years, you begin to reap the fruits thereof. You begin to reap the fruits thereof. So I'll allow you to ask a couple of questions if you have any while I continue, ma. Oh, I'm not hearing you. I can't hear you. I don't know if you've even been hearing me since.
I've been hearing you very well.
Okay. All right. Okay.
You talked about the cost of buying land from you. And
Okay.
I have some questions to that.
Okay.
But I want to know, why do you think land is a better option for people to go into now? Is that the easiest route for people to go into real estate, or are there other avenue that people can exploit in terms of explore in terms of going into real estate? What's the easiest one? We are coming back to this land, but I want to know if it's the easiest way, because there are people who really want to come into real estate business, but possibly they don't have the money and they don't even know who to like go to in terms of, okay, mentorship, or let me work with you even if you don't pay me. But so my question is, what's the easiest way to really come into real estate? Is it this land banking? Because the one of buying house is more bulky, but I don't know if there are other routes.
Thank you. You've actually answered the question for me. Now, land banking is not the only way to come into real estate. You also have property acquisition. Okay, but doing land banking is a low entry barrier. You don't need so much money as such to come into to begin to get good returns from a property acquisition. Now, this is what happens. You diversify your portfolio. You diversify. It's like investing in stocks, investing in real estate, investing in commodities. You diversify your portfolio. So if you are very buoyant, you can have a property, a physical property that you can rent out or use for Airbnb for short lets. Okay. You also have other properties like land. Okay. Now there are two different types of land acquisition. There is a land acquisition that will not give you anything yearly. The value will just be appreciating over time. Okay, until you probably want to dispose of it. And there's the one that we are introducing to you that on an annual basis you can be getting return. Okay, and then this one is quite favorable because of the low entry barrier. With less than 10, 12 million, you can start with it and you begin to get return. So now what you can now do is aggregate all this money together, save it together over time. Now, so number one, you already have your land. Already have your land. In the future, okay, when you are buying your land for 600,000, let's say in 5 years' time, okay, or in 8 years' time, in that location, somebody wants to buy that land for 10, 15 million. You don't have to spend that 10, 15 million because you already have the land. So the money you'll be looking for now is to build on it so that you now begin to have another cash flow model, another cash flow avenue. So it's in phases. So depending on the level you are at, okay, you can either do direct structural property acquisition or you do land banking and use it to grow your money until you can build something. So whichever direction you want to go, all are very, very profitable and feasible. Yes.
Okay, like if somebody buys land now, if I decide to buy today, how long am I
Okay.
going to like hold it for me to get the best of returns?
Okay. Thank you. Now, depending on the location, if it's already a developed location, okay. If it's already a developed location, note something. A developed location was previously undeveloped. Now, when it was undeveloped, some people bought that place. And then they allow the time to pass, development to grow, and then you are now coming to buy it at the developed stage. Now, when you're at that developed stage, okay, you can probably hold it for maybe 1 or 2 years and then resell and get good value. But imagine you bought it and held it for 2 years. Imagine if somebody had bought it at, let's say, 1 million naira, okay, and then sold to you after 5 years and still has some extra plots. And every other year they are selling. They are at a more advantageous position. Now, so you can sell, if you buy within a developed area, you can sell within 1 or 2 or 3 years, okay? But if you are buying in an undeveloped area that development will catch up with, we advise that you wait for minimum of 5 to 8 years, so that within that period of your waiting, you're not waiting in vain. Annually, you're getting money into your pockets. On an annual basis, you're getting money in your pocket. Your property is appreciating, and after 8 years, you can do your dirty December every year, just be selling one plot of land, and then keep the money. That money can serve you for 3 Decembers doing whatever you want. So those are the two differences of buying developed and undeveloped.
Okay, thank you very much. Another question I want to ask is, you talked about the price of investing in this particular land that you people have now. You made mention of 1 hectare, and you said that 1 hectare is about 6 plots, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So
ma'am.
each of the plots costs 1.950, or I don't know if
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
that's correct. Yes.
Okay, each of the plot. Let's approximate it to 2 million.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
approximate it to 2 million. So each
Let
plot.
me break down that cost. So yeah, you can approximate to 2 million, but it's actually 1,950. There are 3 parts to that 1,950. The first part is the cost of the land itself. The cost of the land is 650,000. Now we now have what we call the statutory fees. For your documentation, your deed of assignment, your fencing of your property of the property of the general estate. That's another 650,000. There's now the processing of the C of O, because we're not going to leave the property untitled. So we're going to process the C of O, and then because this has to do with government, it will take run its course. That's another 650,000. So that's why the total cost per plot comes to 1,950.
Okay, I want to know, can somebody just buy a plot, or must everybody buy 1 hectare? It's hectare you call it, right?
Yes, 1 acre. So the minimum anyone can buy is 3 plots.
Okay, that's half hectare.
Yeah, that's a half acre, and that is for about 5.850.
Okay, so guys, I
Yes,
think this is very
5,850,000. Okay.
So if somebody wants to buy, it's either you go for 1 hectare or you go for half. And half an acre is 3 plots, and a full
3
hectare
plots,
is
yes.
6 plots. And each
6
plot
plots,
costs approximately 2 million. He said it's 1.950, approximately
yes.
2 million. So if you are buying 1 hectare, you are going to pay
Yes.
12 million approximately. And if it's just
11.7.
okay,
11.7.
11.7, that's what you are going
Yes.
to pay. And if you are
Yes.
paying for 3 plots, which is half an acre, you then
Yes.
pay I think 5
Five
point
eight five eight
okay,
fifty, or
580.
approximately 6 million.
Okay. Now, the
Yes.
next question is, people who are not living in Nigeria, can they
Okay.
buy this land? People abroad, can they buy this land? And what's the best way for them to make money from a land they own in Nigeria because they are not in Nigeria? Because we have many people who bought land and before they
Mm,
came back, it has been resold because the land was not
mm,
used for
mm,
anything, and
mm.
then you start going to court to go to settle all these issues. So
Yeah.
how can
Yeah.
people buy this land? And if people own land in Nigeria, what's the best way for them to start making money from their land?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Number one, most times when people run into issues with their land in Nigeria, is that probably they've not bought from a reputable real estate company. That's number one. Number two, they probably did not even buy from a real estate company at all. Probably they bought from an individual, or they gave the money to family members to buy the land for them. So those can bring issues. But when you buy from a reputable real estate company, you are buying into an estate. Now, a reputable real estate company is governed by laws in Nigeria. Note the word reputable real estate company. Okay? And by the grace of God, we are one of them. They are governed by the CSC document, the CSC registration. They are governed by Real Estate Association of Nigeria, that's Redden. They are governed by the EFCC themselves. So that helps to curb any curb them
Wow.
from going a whole with your money. All right. Now, before you buy, if you are in the diaspora, there are things that you can do. Number one is that the company must do a virtual tour for you. If you cannot send any of your relatives, the company can do a virtual inspection for you, a live video inspection. You see everything live. You see the land. You see structures. You see their signage. You check them up on their social media also. Check also the management of the company. Let them also give you their REDAN certificate, their EFCC certificates, if possible, their CSC registration. So that's how to verify that they are genuine. They should also do probably a video coverage of their office, okay? And all your payments and your receipts and your documentation should be well in order. So it's actually possible to stay abroad and buy property in Nigeria. Yes.
Yes, I love the fact that you explained how to verify real estate companies in Nigeria because we've had people living abroad who sent money and sometimes you don't even know which route to follow. When you send money to family members, they
Mm,
can't deliver. You now give
mm,
money to a real estate company, they will disappear.
mm,
So,
mm.
but like from what you've said, any real and genuine real estate should have certification from all these bodies that regulate
Yes.
real estate in Nigeria. They should
Mm,
also have like a real office that you can
yes.
go to. And
Yes.
also, their social media platforms are also something you can look out for and see people's comments and reactions and
Mm,
all
mm,
that to know
mm,
when did they open this account and what are people saying about them. These are ways to check, to double
mm.
check. Like I've told you guys that you can always work with Mr. Benga if you are looking for a
Okay.
real estate developer to work with in Nigeria. I can vouch for him that your money will not
Thank
go
you.
missing. But you can also
Yes.
go ahead to do your own research. Don't just take
Mm,
my word for it. Go and do your
mm,
own research. He has mentioned all the bodies that regulate real estate developers that ensure that they know, as in, if you go to these bodies now and report to them that this person made away
mhm,
with my money, they know how to
mhm,
get
mhm.
to that
Oh
person.
yes.
So these
Oh
things
yes.
are very
Yes.
important because making money is all about risk. If
Mm,
you don't take
mm,
risk, you won't make money. And then on top
mm.
of that, your risk, you have to be very smart and intelligent
Yeah.
and do
Yeah.
your due diligence when it comes to
Mm,
making sure you check and double check as to who
mm.
am I working with. Is he really
Yeah.
reputable? Is he somebody I can
Mm.
trust That way you put your money in the right place, and before you know it, you start making money. So another thing I want to ask is, now that an hectare or 1 acre costs approximately 11 million
Point 7.
700, right?
Yes. Yes.
Can people co-invest? Can I call like friends and relatives and siblings and say, okay, let's put our money together and buy this land? Because I love the fact that every year, assuming you bought this land, let's even leave it for that 12 million. If you buy this land for 12 million, then every year you are getting 1.5. Every year you are getting, I tell you, in the next 6 to 7 years, you've already gotten almost everything you spent in acquiring this land. So I think it's a very good business model that somebody who has money lying down somewhere can just go into. And at the end of the day, you have your money waiting for you, and then you've already made extra gain from it. So now, can people co-invest, and what's the process?
Okay, thank you. Yes, people can come together to own acres. Because they say if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So people can actually pool funds together and co-invest together. Now, what will now happen is that everybody's name will be on the deed of assignment, will be on the agreement. Everybody's name will be there. Okay, and how many portions they own of the property. So the company will have that copy. All of them will also have their copy. So they can actually come together and own the land. Yes.
Wow, I think this is good.
And they will all be signatories to the transactions on the land.
Okay.
Yes.
Everybody will be carried along.
Everybody will be carried along, basically. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Wow.
So that's very
This
possible.
is nice.
Yes.
This is nice. Thank you very much, Mr. Gwenga. So, in a nutshell, this land is located in Ogun State. If you pay for it,
yes,
farmers are going to be using the land for now.
Yes.
And then you'll be getting returns from whatever. You'll be getting 1.5 million naira monthly.
Yes.
This money, is it for
No,
1
yearly, for 1 year.
Sorry, yearly. Sorry for that.
Yes.
Yearly, 1.5 million yearly. Is it for 1 hectare or for 1 plot?
For 1 acre. That's for 1 acre.
For 1 acre, you'll be getting
1.5
yearly, every year.
Yes.
And to buy that 1 acre, you are going to pay 11.7 million. So that's the amount you're going to pay. And yearly, you are going to be getting 1.5 million. So, Mr. Green, I think it's well understood. And I love the fact that even if you don't want to buy 1 acre, you can buy just 3 plots, which is like half the hectare. You can just buy that and start with it. Allow your money to grow to the point that you'll be able to use it to reinvest somewhere for you to be getting 1.5 million naira every year for this land. I think it's very huge. Because in Nigeria, people buy land and they end up putting like a megad there. You have to be paying the megad, and the land will just be lying waste. It's not being used. Sometimes people will say, oh, I just want to build boys' quarter so that I put people there just for them to be
You're tying that money. You're tying that money.
I know people who even put tenants. Those tenants are not supposed to be paying because they have become your security men or security or whatever. Yeah, they'll be the ones taking care of the land. And you are not making money. You are rather spending to protect the land. So the easiest way is all these other ways to make money from a land that you've not started building on. I think it's very good. It's something people can really go into and give it a try. With the demand for agricultural products or produce now in Nigeria is huge, both locally and internationally. When you go to countries like Ghana, where the real export is taking place, people are exporting because in the diaspora now you have so many blacks and they want to eat African food. People, there's this high demand for all these things. Then industrially, you also have demands for all these things. So there's a whole lot to exploit, going into this kind of business. So, Mr. Benga, thank you very much for this proper explanation and also telling our audience what they can benefit if they buy this land. It's very simple, it's very clear. I don't think people can just be waiting for all these are politicians who do not even care, you know. You
Mm.
don't you don't
Yeah.
you don't depend on them because it's just all about themselves, not
Mm.
about you, not about your family. It's just all about
Mm.
themselves. So
Mm.
I'm going to paste here Mr. Benga's contact, his Gmail, and also his WhatsApp phone number. So you can contact him whenever you want to be part of this. So, Mr. Benga, before we end this stream, what's the timeline? What's from when to when is this offer open?
Okay. Yes. So this offer is open from now till about September because this is the planting season. Yes. So it's open from now till about September.
Okay, so guys, you can give it
Yes.
a thought and also do your own verification. There are
Mm-hmm.
easy ways. If you have somebody in Nigeria, you can always ask them to go check on city group just for them, city
Yeah.
buildings group, so that they will tell you that they are legit. And if you want to do business with them, you won't have any form of fear. There are people you
Mm.
can trust, they won't eat your money. He has had dealings with so many people in this industry, and he has been in this for a very long time. So we are going to end it at this point. Thank you very much, Mr. Benga, for
Thank you,
coming
madam. Thank
to
you.
the show.
Thank you very
I
much.
love the fact
Thank you.
that we are educating ourselves and learning how
Mm-hmm.
real estate actually works in Nigeria. The
Mm.
easiest way to go into it is this land banking, that you can
Mm.
buy land and it's being used to cultivate. And at the end
Mm.
of the day, anytime you want it, you get the land back. Don't forget that this land is going to be coming with C of O, which makes it
Yes.
more
Yes.
valuable. So you can use
Yes.
it as a collateral. You go to Nigerian
Mm-hmm.
bank, they're asking you, what
Mm-hmm.
do you have to present?
Mm-hmm.
You have your land, it has a C of O. That alone
Definitely.
can also help you get money from the bank that you can also use
Mm.
to invest in something else.
Mm.
So it's
Mm.
just about being smart and being strategic in our today's
Mm.
world. So we are going
Mm.
to end it here, Mr. Benga. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you
And I'm
very much,
going
madam.
to
Thank you.
be having you
Thank,
again next week. God bless
thank
you
you, madam.
and bye. Yeah. So, guys, thank you very much for listening to Mr. Benga speak. Like I've always told you guys, see, this channel is like my everything. I can't bring anybody here on this platform that is going to be dubious or that want to just make money out of you. I've had so many people come to me and say, I want to advertise on your channel. I will tell them no, because that's not actually the dream behind this channel. So I love being sincere. I always boast with my sincerity, both from childhood. I've been that person that when I tell you my yes, it remains my yes. I'm not trying to boast, but that's just my nature. And I cannot bring here someone who has an interior motive of duping you or taking your money. No. So if you are interested in real estate or you just have any question, you must not buy. You have any question or anything, maybe you have a land and you have some questions that you want to find out, you can always contact Mr. Benga. He's so knowledgeable in real estate related issues. He's going to answer your questions. He's going to guide you. He will advise you to. His phone number is here. Or you have a land that is being dragged and you don't know how to go about it, contact him. Is going to guide you, because in Lagos now there's this reform that is going on because of the recent demolition we saw early part of last year. I think last year or so, after the last election, we saw demolition out of the anger that Tinubu lost Lagos. They were just busy demolition, and they were giving excuses that people were building on canal parts. The same people who gave approval, who gave you documents, who gave you everything, they were the same people that turn around to start destroying your property. So that's why it's good to like get enough knowledge when you want to go into real estate in Nigeria. And honestly, real estate is a game changer. If you watch, people will tell you real estate, agricultural products, these are the two ways to make money now in Nigeria. These are the two ways. For people that will come and tell you to join CBEX because your money is going to double in after 1 year, you cannot see that this quick money is not the best way to go. You can always buy real estate and wait. Like he said, all these Lagos Island and all those places where people are now calling millions, and even in dollars, they sell houses now in dollars in Nigeria. Those places were one time, will I call it forest, but today the people are counting. I mean, if you have 2 3 plots there and they are telling you that it's $150 million, the way they even call money in Nigeria in real estate related deals, you'll be wondering if Nigeria is even more expensive than the Western world, more expensive than the US or Europe. The amount of money they call when you want to buy a house, you'll be wondering why. So the best way to really start doing all these things is go into this land banking. It helps you to accumulate money that you can then use, and tomorrow you may just resell it if you don't want to build. Most times I don't even encourage people to like go into building. You can just buy that house. And one thing with dealings now in real estate is you can be paying instrumentally. And in Nigeria, you don't even need to, like, if it's in the Western world, they'll tell you, are you working? Bring your tax return, bring your this, what's your credit score, and all that. They'll start checking and checking and they'll find fault. But in Nigeria, it's not like that. You just pay and pay instrumentally, especially if you get the trusted real estate dealers. You pay instrumentally. At the end of the day, they give you your document with your C of O, and the house automatically becomes yours. You start making money from it. I think it's really a good opportunity. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell. Please give this video a like so that YouTube can recommend it to others, and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for joining me, and God bless you. See you next week. Bye.